Well, hello and welcome to a very, very grim PM Express, if I may say. And indeed, the news that we are waking up to today has not been a pleasant one, and we're looking at mob justice. Good old Captain Mahama, who's been set off to duty, basically to protect our environment from being destroyed by illegal miners. Wakes up one morning to go on a jog, and for one reason or the other, and there are more questions than there are answers, he ends up being lynched. Very gruesome, stoned, burned, clubbed. Fine young man's life just ended. I was just saying in the newsroom that, I know God knows everybody's destinies and everybody's fate, but this must have eluded God. I don't think that he planned this thing for his son, that you just wake up one morning, go for a jog, and the people of Denchira or Boise would just basically stone and burn you and do the most heinous crimes. I don't know what's happening to good old Ghana. You look at what's happening in Denchira, Boise, look at what happened in Kumasi. A group wakes up and say, well, we are not happy with an appointee, so we misbehave. We are not happy with a court case, so we misbehave. And it is just pockets. You go to so many, we're not happy with our electricity bill, so they misbehave. Somewhere they say they're not happy because there's too many potholes on their roads. So it just seems as if we now live in a country where, well, if I am not pleased about something, I get a few guys together and we do whatever it is we want. And most certainly, you can guarantee that everybody goes scot-free. There's never an arrest. Investigations are never complete. Whatever reason, they go complete. So we are setting a precedent in this country to say that, listen, if you're not happy about something, do whatever it is that you want and get away with it. But Captain Death should maybe he should be our Jesus Christ, who turns around this culture once and for all, nipped in the butt, because otherwise, if it progresses, then what else? How many policemen, how many soldiers do we have? Assuming there's a bus stop in Tamale, and then there's one in Takrady, Accra, there's one in Dumasa, and all over. How do you stem this negative tide if indeed happens? But today has been a really, really sad day. I mean, beyond anyone's belief. Condolences to Captain Mahama's family, and indeed to all of us. Any reasonable thinking being, I say condolences to you. But you see, we live in a country where a great majority think it's okay to just jump in and beat anybody so far as they've been shouted on as thief or Juloe. They think it's okay, it's normal. In Libya, if somebody's a thief, you just go in there and you beat them. There are lots and lots of people in this country who think it's a normal behavior. Now that's a very worrying trend. My name is Nana Asakwa, the fourth chief of Akwamoah Dumasa, and today's not a happy day. Stay tuned when I come back. We are looking at a new trend of mob justice, aggravations all over. Don't go.
Yesterday, around 10 a.m., I was in Dinkwao. Then I received several calls that armed robbers have attacked Denchira Boise. So quickly, I called my station officer, Chief Inspector Taeboa, that this is the information I have. So he should mobilize men and quickly move to the scene. Meanwhile, he also called the Denchira Boise Dominasi police to come for assistance. Now, about 1 hour later, my station officer called me that when they got to the scene, the suspected armed robber has been lynched to death by unidentified mob. According to him, they met the body naked with deep multiple cutlass wounds on the head and parts of the body partially bent. So, as for our procedure, we sent the body to Dunkwa Government Hospital, mortuary. Now, when I returned to Diaso, my station officer told me when they were getting ready to go, the assemblyman at Denchroboase, Honorable William Ban, came and made a report that he received information that there was a man walking along the road coming towards Denchroboase, and they have seen a pistol hidden at the back of the man, and they suspect him to be one of the armed robbers. So quickly, according to the assemblyman, he got two other colleagues to join him, and as they were coming, they met the deceased. Now he said when he decided to approach the deceased quickly pulled a pistol at him. So he managed to escape and then came to the police and made the report. But unfortunately, when the police got to the scene, he has been lynched to death. So currently, we have started our investigation as to who might have been the culprits. Now, around 7 p.m., that was the same day yesterday, 3 soldiers in uniform came to our station here, and their senior man, WO2, Lawrence Achianyao, informed police that their captain, that the detachment commander here, the captain went on jogging in the morning, and as at 4 p.m., he had not returned. And the soldiers had information that a suspected armed robber had been lynched to death at the Denchroboase, and the body sent to Dunkwa Government Hospital. So they followed to the mortuary, and there they saw that the deceased was their army captain. First now is for the soldiers storming the Denchroboase now, and most of the people living in the town. It will take time for police to get the possible witnesses to help us speed up our investigation. You know, the Denchroboase is the scene. Whatever material evidence we shall get it from that scene. Now, soldiers have stormed the place. Possible witnesses have fled. So you can see that investigation is at hot time. So if they will move and allow investigation to go on, I know when they move, the citizens, the inhabitants will come, and then the police can get into contact with possible witnesses to help us continue our investigation.
A lot of people have the thought that we are coming to do some reprisal attacks in this general area. So one of the things I did was to reassure them that we are not going to carry out reprisal attacks. People should feel free to go about their normal duties if they are not involved in any of these acts. But once we require to get to the bottom of the matter, we require them to give us information, to provide information that will lead to the quick resolution of the matter. I have lost one of my fine officers who was detailed to come here on official duty, protecting life and property, only to be lynched by the same community that he's supposed to be protecting. So it is very sad that this should happen to an officer of the Ghana Army and the armed forces at large. The community where the incident has happened has completely been vacated, except the few who were arrested. Out of those, we have been able to identify 2 or 3 who may have been directly involved in the incident, and we've handed them over to the police. My hope is that this police will work on this one very speedily so that we can get to the bottom of the matter. But it's obviously one of sadness, a sad day for the Ghana Army, And I think it should be a sad day for the community here too, that people who have been sent here to come and protect them, that they will be involved in killing them.
Well, very, very sad indeed. With me in the studio is Dr. Franklin Baini, who's a security analyst, to try and help us understand, what's going on and, how we move on from here. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, brother.
I mean, this is beyond. I mean, we've had lynching is becoming part of our culture. Hey, Julo, you're driving, you run over somebody, and if you're not careful, you're better off just speeding off to the police, because if you stop, they may, burn your car and really do some damage to you. You take something from the market, and if you're not careful to get to the police station. I mean, so it's becoming part of us. But this is probably a situation where, an army officer has been sent into an area to go and protect them, and like you say, the same people who are protecting come back. There may be so many underlining stories once you scratch the surface, but before we get there, I just want your preliminary comments before we roll into the studio.
Yeah, Nana, thank you very much. You see how I've been stretching myself. We are all saddled. Very much disheartening, very painful. This very barbaric act, very uncouth kind of action of the community in which they are supposed to be, protected as citizens of this country. Honestly speaking, the whole of today I've been busy in meetings with the Minister of Labor, this and that, solving so many problems, until on my way going home and I got to know this or hear of this issue. It's really put me back, but I will begin to look back to history of what has happened and is happening in Africa. It's becoming like an order of the day, which is not supposed to be. But let me use this opportunity before I delve or digress into this subject matter of the family, the wife particularly. The children left behind, 2 children, and indeed the entire family in which he comes from. If they are listening to me, my condolences to them indeed, and then I pray the Holy Spirit will really support them and also lead the institution, that is the police, to be able to unravel these very unfortunate circumstances. Now, what has happened today has, the question we will ask ourselves is all about what then could be the causes of all this kind of situation. In every community, in every society, like I was saying, it's found in Africa here and there, and these are the same group of people who, at the end of the day, grows to become, criminals within these countries and become a group of its own and begin to terrorize the people. Now, I have really found out that some of the causes of this serious situation or circumstance we find today might be ineffective prosecution. Could be one of them. When people find out that when some of these situations or matters of this situation have been sent to the police, when they have arrested him, they didn't touch him, they apply the law by handing him over to the police, they find out that police are not able to prosecute them. They come back to the society again. That should be one of the factors. Weak judicial system, which indeed is also a factor. We also find out that the evidence of culture of impunity is also a factor. And then failure to prompt the police by the judicial to go in a situation like this. Now, if I may go a little further inside to these factors that I've mentioned, then we realize that lack of trust in the judicial system, heightened crime wave, which is all over increasing, is heightening, and also the issue of poor, ineffective public police relations vis-a-vis governance, and then the strong police accountability and swift administration of justice in the world in the criminal cases that has been handled. We have seen previous criminal cases that, and even just now, the officer was talking about now that they have handed 3 or 4 persons to them, they are pleading with them to ensure that they speed up work of this very action or in terms of prosecution and etc. But you see, the question will be, of recent, we have heard that of what? This today. We have heard of that of Samakasi. Did you hear that? On the immigration also, officers who were in group also, they were not, but they were attacked. And that of the what? That of the electricity issue, so many, and something also that went up past to in Kumasi or so, and many of other ones that has taken place. Now, with all this, and the question is, what is causing the escalation? The escalation is still called the question of what I see that as under the police, who are the main or the formal institution, is being under-resourced. I see, and the growing crime rate is also on the ascendancy. Poor police and civilian relationship, as I said, all above all the impatience of the people to wait for the law to take its course. All this culminated together will lead to the escalation. But we now have to start looking at the de-escalation of this, because if we don't see the ways and means to de-escalate it, of course, it begins to become a very big security threat, and that can lead to discomfort as we are being taxed, and then our money are supposed to be used in training these very personnel to take care of us and our properties, and then we turn around to be attacking them. Now, what happened at that place, for example, at Daboso, Obuasi, Denchira? Right. I'm happy to hear that. I was going to make a comment on that. I'm happy that the officer made mention that they have really demobilized. Earlier on, the soldiers went there. You know, when soldiers come around there, they get very disturbed because one of their trained, had been trained with the resources of the same economy of the state money, has been trained to come to that level. Now getting out, being taken away, meaning money has been thrown away. It will take time for us to train somebody to come to that kind of cadre to be able to contribute his quota for the economy or development of the state. Now it's so sad, painful, very disheartening. So normally in terms of the past, we've been hearing and seeing that most soldiers, when they go there, they rather will retaliate. But thank God they did not retaliate. But their presence alone puts the people into fear and scare. And of course, like he said, it puts away the true, information that is needed. Now, I know at this moment we have different kinds of intelligence that they have to put in place. But I know we have the human intelligence, we have the signal intelligence, we have the imaginary intelligence, we have the measurement and signature intelligence, we have the open source intelligence, we have the community intelligence, and we have also the mass intelligence. These, they know better. We respect our Ghana forces.
At the moment, once everybody's run into the bush, why are they going to get all these intelligence from?
Unless, that's what I'm saying, that unless one or the other, they have to indeed ask the army to go back to their barracks and give it to the formally constitutionally mandated institution, which is the Ghana police, to be able to. But then they are pleading with all these very. When they go away, I bet you they will come back home. And of course, I heard him saying that they are not there to intimidate, but the armed forces, they may not, but any slightest anger can trigger. So it's better they keep off and allow the police. The police have been trained and they will know how to handle this. And I believe our police are respected in international communities. If they are resourced, if they're not able to get this, in fact, we are under-resourced. The Ghana police is under-resourced in terms of this modern crime wave and in terms of what they are supposed to be resourced to be able to mitigate this trend of war crime in society.
Clearly, if you look at the town, you look at the pictures, and it's not like a big metropolis. So if there's a soldier in town for 3 weeks, it wouldn't take 5 minutes before the news spreads that, hey, yes, a commander Fufubiaba.
That's right.
The news will spread. So it's a bit strange to say that all these people, not even one person knows that, no, he's the commander in charge of the platoon here. That's a bit strange, Should there have been early warning signs that, look, the relationship is getting too bad, either you leave here or we try and solve it? I don't know.
Well, the other school of thought is that when they were going, what was their mission in the first place?
Well, to protect, stop galamsey.
Very good. So it means, if from what I'm saying, then of course the community will be able to be aware, or they will be aware of their mission and their purpose of coming there. That's one. And if they are there, fine. I don't think they have to tell them that this, but then definitely they have to let them that this is the officer in charge of this team. So if anything, maybe they have to share with them. But then, and that morning when this officer was jogging and going out there, he was having a pistol with him, okay? And you see, in a community like that, remember, the community is very small. We have nucleus kind of communities. They know them. So any nucleus communities, they know every one another. So if there's any strange person comes in our midst, they will begin to find out, who is this person? Where, begin to be suspicious. Then some stranger has come to our community, then become alert and or heightened. Now, in this case, according to what we read, they were the officer was on, and it was, I think he lost his way. He was finding from a woman, and to direct her to where he was going. I don't know where he really wanted to go, and the woman saw a pistol, so he became scared. That is where he went. Also, she wanted to report, and then the assemblyman came into what mobilize. And then the mobilization to come with this into other. Then, of course, he shot.
Doc.
Yes, please.
The guy is a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
He has a platoon of 30 men.
He's entitled to.
And he's heading them.
Yes.
Look, sometimes you go into a Kropon, right, and you see these soldiers with their map, and they've walked from Burma camp all over to Abri, and they're doing all these things.
Yeah.
I mean, after 3 weeks, I mean, how big is Danger or whatever
Very
it is
small place.
For this guy to be going jogging and has missed his way from the camp to wherever he's jogging? I mean, there's so many questions.
Questions, exactly, because it's a question of a woman asking a woman of well, I'm going this way. Will you show me? It's baffling. It's set one's imagination thinking. Again, before you, the military officer, will go there, I believe they will have taken them through geography, the military or mapping. They will take them through this environment you are going. They will sit down. They will do classroom work. This is the area. They will do all this, so they will know the environment in which they are going. They will do a survey of the environment they are going to occupy and what they are going to do, and all everything will be in the in a geographical map on where they go. They have the map. So there wouldn't be the question of you have got lost, and therefore they should show you the way for you to be able to go where you're going. So that question is is very much disturbing. Now the question is that again, when the woman found out that he has pistol, he was scared and ran to report to the assemblyman, and then also came in and then mobilized these people and to come, and then he shot. I am told from the news that one person was, and that has been that person has been apprehended, could be a prime witness in this case, to be able to know exactly what happened on that critical point.
Well, let me go to the phone and speak to Dr. Vladimir Nchidansu, Dean and Director of Academic Affairs, Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, my senior brother indeed. Doctor, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Nana, and good evening to your viewers.
Well, I think it's an evening. I don't know whether it's good or not, but it's an evening certainly. Doc,
sure.
There are just so many questions. I mean, how many armed robbers jog at 8:30 in the morning with their gun, and then go and ask for direction? I don't know whether directions to where it is they are going to rob, for it to look so suspicious that you have to attack. Is that where Ghana has got into now?
It's a very sad situation, very, very sad situation. And you and I, several other commentators have always talked about the extent of indiscipline in our body policy, the extent of indiscipline in our development. The point is that we have sunk so low to the extent that everybody and anybody does what they like. There are several instances of such, beginning from children as low as JHS, SHS, who beat their headmasters, burn police stations, and we haven't done anything about that. It's about time we started a crusade against indiscipline. I was joking the other time saying that Nana has brought so many ministries, 110. I love that. But there's one more ministry that is needed for us, and that would be the Ministry of Discipline or Indiscipline. Nana, look, we have, let us note that the Sierra Leones, Somalians, and whatnot started like this, where indiscipline reached a height when it's the slightest trigger burns the whole nation. This is something, it's one too many. We killed somebody who worked at Cocoa Board, who had put his mother a dead mother in his car, going to put him in a morgue, and people lynched him. So many, a Sherman, everywhere. It's becoming too much. And let us know that the causes are not far-fetched. The first point is politics generally. Politics has become so dirty, a zero-sum game, and therefore a race to the bottom. So we use undisciplined people to acquire power. After power, we are beholden to them, and we can't do anything about it. Now, Galam say we are beholden to the politicians and that kind of thing. So that is the first one. Then again, the illiteracy level is because we try to use these very persons for the policies that we're talking about. The justice system is so slow also. The police as a body which is destined to protect us from all these things are under-resourced, under-managed, and there's a whole lot. We have some of the finest policemen on earth. When you see what they do at the UN peacekeeping situations, theaters of war, you realize that they are the best. Why is it that back home we don't support them? That they arrest some people, the justice system leaves the people, and discipline keeps on and on and on. Nana, we are at a juncture where we need to do something, because in fact, very soon we'll have the soldiers and other persons to whom these attacks are being perpetrated also reacting. I'm very surprised that we have a very good military of late. If it were some 20 years or 30 years back, I tell you the whole community would have been grazed down and burnt altogether. So we need to do something. If we don't, one day the senior officer who has been talking about that, the army chief of army staff who has been calming his people down, that may not have that seniority again to calm them down. They'll push him aside and do whatever it is. And now if you want to catch them, they turn themselves into some miscreants, into a Boko Haram type of organization and things like that. It's a sad day, and I think now the government should be very serious and take all the measures that is needed. Modernity will allow us also. The photographs are so clear. Let's pick them one by one and deal with them straight ahead. And let Parliament also now take the steps to amend the laws, the weak laws that make these things fester in our society. I'm angry myself. I'm so angry that this thing shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen in our society.
Doc, let me ask you another question. And this question I think I've asked about, sound like a broken record. But what is it about us that makes us so petrified to implement the simplest of laws, and we are so scared to apply? I mean, it only affects literally, if I'm quote and unquote, poor people. But, we just can't apply the law. It doesn't matter. And, most probably, they will come back and say the investigation is proved futile, and therefore, nobody was arrested.
It's not the application of the law alone. It is a systemic problem. Some people were arrested sometime in Asawasi, I remember very well. And the whole thing was such that they said they were arrested because they belong to a certain specific political party. As soon as you introduce such virus, what happens is that prosecution becomes weak. That's right. There is a possibility that because of corruption, the necessary charges are not put. And then the Attorney General doesn't have anything to do anymore, and these people are left. In the technicality of the law, they have been let loose, not because the law is weak, but the application of the law has been misdirected. And it's not the fault of those who apply the law, but it's the weakness within the system. That's why I'm calling for a systemic attack, a crusade against this thing, so that we tighten the laws, allow the people who should work to work according to the remit of the Constitution without looking at politics, so that these people that we have arrested, let's make sure that we get them and the law to work so seriously. The laws are there. They may be weak. The application is hampered by politics, by corruption, and by several other things. These are the things we should tackle. Not that the laws are not there. The applicability of the law is there. The application is what runs into some kind of topics. Most of all, politics to start with.
Doc, hold on for me. Let me come to studio. I have Dr. Franklin in studio. Dr. Franklin, I mean, if for all these years we haven't been able to apply the law and things have degenerated to this, I mean, do you think this is that triggering point that would let us apply the law, or we are unable to wake up.
We shouldn't have been waiting for such a point for us to arrive before we were able to say. In fact, like he was saying, my colleague was saying, there are a lot of wonderful good laws in this country that indeed quite overdue to be applied. We are talking about application here. The application, like I earlier on said, there's ineffectiveness in our prosecution. There is weak judicial system. The system is broken down. The system is what? Is weakened, that things are not working. And of course, it is being clothed by what? By politics. And if we can really dissociate ourselves from politics and look at the subject matter in the eyes of the law and allow the institution that is established and mandated by the constitution of this country to work, of course, I tell you, then of course we see, but we shouldn't have been waiting for some of the situations we are going through today to be experienced before we say we are going to apply the law. It's quite overdue. So like my colleague is saying, the application here is the issue. The system broken, the inside, the lack of trust. People have lost the trust in our judicial system. We have lost the trust in the Ghana police services. But meanwhile, our police services now, they are well trained, they are intelligent, they know it. But then the political will is also another issue that is really causing all this, because if I do this, I may lose my job. But that shouldn't be the case. The Constitution is really backing you, have mandated you, because we are the three arms of the government.
It's the same Constitution that, you know,
they are not allowing these very organs to operate.
It's the same Constitution that makes the IGP a political position.
It is time for them to realize, to recognize that they must be set, they must know how to allow and permit. It is not that we are not respect of any. The law is not respect of any person, which they know.
But our law recognizes people.
Let me take
a quick break here. When I come back, Dr. Vladimir, your question is there a rivalry between the police and the army? You know, at the scene now. So I'll take a quick break, and then when I come back, Doc, that's your question. Well, thank you very much for staying. Have with me in the studio Dr. Franklin Baini, security analyst, in studio. And then on the phone, I have Dr. Vladimir Enchudanso. We're looking at the issue of mob justice. Now, once upon a time in the UK, there was a gentleman called Stephen Lawrence who was abused, like racial abuse. And the police did the investigation, and it was really, really horrible. And literally, Stephen Lawrence became the Jesus Christ for black people in the UK, where they literally raid the racial attributes of the police. You know, they killed it so that the police couldn't just stop you because you were black and search you, and all that is stopped. And so as sad as Stephen Lawrence's death was, he became some sort of like a liberation for black people in the UK. And I hope that Captain Mahama's death will become the end of this impunity in this country. I mean, has wasted his life, but hope that, you know, he becomes our Jesus Christ for the end of the culture of impunity. But let me go to the phone and speak to Dr. Vladimir Enchudanso to find out if there's some sort of rivalry between the army and the police, who's in charge, and go and let me take over, let me investigate. And we see the soldiers standing all over the crime scene, probably damaging the evidence. Doc, what's happening?
Well, I don't think there is that rivalry generally. But when it comes this way, the military is ahead. That's why you found them at the crime scene. They took their own evidence. They've done some preliminary investigation. They've handed some culprits to suspected culprits to the police. Naturally, by the Constitution, the structure of our Constitution, the police are the agents for such a situation. It is when they are overwhelmed that they will call in the military. But what is happening in our country is not a question of or a question of rivalry. It's more of a question of non-complementarity generally. Gone were the days actually when the police and the military have different complementarity. But if you watch out, I think during the period of Rawlings, they started these joint patrols, and it's working very well. So I think it is there. What I don't see more effectively is sharing of information and intelligence. I think at this juncture, with this culture of impunity, there must be complementarities between the military intelligence, the DNI, and all the agencies that work towards prevention of crime and detection and arrest of crime. If these complementarities are there, we wouldn't see many of these things because we share intelligence and share action. And I think this unfortunate incident will have to bring about this kind of complementarities among the agencies.
Dr. Franklin, we're hearing the police pleading with the army that, look, back off and let me take over. I mean, that's a bit strong.
Yeah, it's to you, the civilian, it might be strong to you, but in fact, they are in one way, in such a statement that they've made there, is trying to tell the military that, please, this is what the Constitution says. This Constitution spells out our role in governance, like in situations like in a crime scene. We are the custodians of this matter. We have to handle it. So by so doing, you coming in, of course, it will, destroy the intelligence, or they destroy the gathering of the intelligence to lead to the unraveling of this very matter as far as the crime is concerned. So on that tone of statement that the police did make to the armed forces, it's not one way or the other, but they are trying to let them know that, look, gentlemen, we respect you. You have, after all, you have been trained for territorial integrity and the protection of the nation. But we are for the internal concern, internal issues, properties and lives, crimes within the state. And this is our responsibility. So that is where they are coming from, I believe, because of course they have been trained for that. And again, you remember, that, the state resources, the state taxes that have been really plunged in to train these ones. Similarly, that of the armed forces, which they have there when it comes to protecting the integrity or the territory of the land of Ghana, that when they come in. Like also my colleague earlier on said, when there's lack of communication here, sharing notes of intelligence when it needs to be, but there's no rivalry per se. But of course, that communication gap is not there, is broken, which needs to be restored and be filled so that they can be sharing notes as and when necessary, so that there will be no that kind of gap of indeed, to break that kind of. Other than that, we'll see what we are going through today.
Let me say that the President Akufo-Addo has meanwhile assured the family of the murdered officer, Captain Mahama, that Maxwell Mahama, those who committed the crime will face the full rigors of the law. The President stressed in his tweet that no one involved in this murder will go free. The President extended his condolences to the family on their tragic loss. And ex-President Mahama, in a tweet, also reached out to the father of the slain soldier, who apparently is a relation. My heart goes out to my brother, Captain Chobi Adam Mahama, retired, on the murder of his son, Captain Maxwell Mahama, and my condolences to the wife of the Captain Maxwell Mahama, his young children, and to his mother on the loss of her only son. Really, really, really terrible. But Dr. Vladimir Enchi, I mean, where do we start? Because it's become so widespread, and you gave us examples from SHS, from electricity bills, dropping my dead body to the mortuary. Everything has become so widespread. How would the government or the police or the military, how do you start to stem this, this impunity?
We can easily halt this impunity if politics stay away immediately. We have had instances where somebody does wrong, almost killing somebody, or the allegations of murder, runs and hides in a minister's house. And until the government was going away, this person was not in custody. This kind of thing is what we need to stop. The point is, this case should give us the light. The police are capable, and I know they are. If politics stands out, they will be prosecuted squarely. Look, there was a time when one Kwaku Ninja or so, if you remember that story,
yeah,
was also killed that way, some kind of mob action over some land. This guy is a strong guy and everybody knew him. But they killed the person, decapitated the body, 7 parts, buried at 7 places. Some in the water body, some under concrete. The Ghana police, I dropped my heart for them. They found this guy, they found the body, got the culprit, successfully prosecuted the case. And as I'm saying, if they are capable of doing this, and it's not because it is one of their own, it is because we found it a duty to do it. This case, they can easily do it again. And that's why they're asking the military to move off. And I know the military understands. They understand. And they want to move away for the police to take action. And I'm saying, let us know that such crimes just don't have to have political color. Let us allow the police to do their work, good prosecution, and let us beg. It must be a crusade. Let us ask the bar, the Ghana Bar Association, let us ask the bench, and let us ask the politicians to stay away and handle this case so that we kill impunity once and for all. But brother, if we allow the laws to work, if we do things the way they should be done, like I'm talking about Tunisia's case, this is a case which is, with my little knowledge in whatever I am, I can just get the people because the pictures are clear and there. When you get 2-3 people, they will tell you the rest. It's unfortunate the military will not be allowed to go in. I know how they work. If the military should go in to investigate this case also, but the constitution will not allow them. They get 2 people, I tell you, we get more, 20 more. Let us take this case as one of the cases which should end impunity. And any other ones that come, we should deal with it. Meanwhile, some education must go on. Meanwhile, the police should be resourced. Meanwhile, we should begin to have situations where we use little evidence to blow up a case and make the case more successful. Other than that, we are going to go into circles. Some politicians may be behind, making sure that their people are not put there because they voted for them and things like that. So please, this is the time. This is the time that we need the ministry that I'm talking about. Let us use this crusade. Let the whole Ghana be very angry about this kind of impunity. Even the armed robbers, they come rob you and kill you or rape your wife. Please, this is the time. Nana, the whole country must be so angry. And I believe that I think some of us should organize something, get onto the street almost daily until this case is resolved.
Doc, hold on. I'll come back to you again, but with the same question that I want to ask, Dr. Franklin. Sad situation. Now, diverting a little bit, you don't hear of the traditional rulers or anything in this area. Now, this is my territory. Coming out to say anything, they're quiet. Yeah. How much influence or how much help would come from them?
I think no matter the situation, no matter it's the whole matter. It's engulfed entire community and entire society of Ghana. So, to me, the chiefs are overwhelmed, one way or the other. So they really don't know what to say. And in any attempt to say something, out of what kind of circumstances you find yourself, will lead you to say or make a word that will be able to, also. Okay. So it will not be problem. But I will also add to the voice that, in fact, one of the things that we need to do is to the media must engage in dialoguing and educating on mob behavior.
I need to take a short break. But producer, give me 1 minute with Dr. Vladimir before you go. Doc.
Yes.
Doc, the number of people, Ghanaians, who think it's normal to just jumping, they say, hey, July, whether they've stolen, whatever it is, we don't care. It's frightening that so many people think it's normal. How do we deal with this?
Again, as I said, the law. You see, those mob actions are called ochlocracy, the rule of the mob. If we don't nip it in the bud, gradually we take over the whole system, and then there is a systemic failure. The Rwandans, the Sierra Leones, the Liberians, they came about as a result of this kind of situations which were not nipped in the bud. But I was a witness in the 1980s to a teacher who was lynched at Makola. he was drawing attention to somebody who was speaking a woman. And that was it. When he was, and some of us got closer, when we took the ID card, a teacher. But when they said July, so these are the things, even at the court, the impunity at the court. Somebody is being tried and people go and make noise over there to the extent of releasing people. It's because high profile people around. Comes the judge just call for 2 people and put them in jail. So that for that disturbing the court, you don't have to go to the court to solidarize in any way.
Doc,
you can go and sit down quietly.
Doc,
So I believe, yes.
So thank you very much. I need to end here, take a break, but let me let viewers that tomorrow Doc will be in here, not as a security person, but as a foreign expert to talk about foreign matters. We're looking at ECOWAS and its integration. So stay tuned tomorrow while Doc will be in studio. I'll take a quick break. Well, thank you very much for staying. And Doc, I'll just give you probably a minute to wound up. Where do we go from here?
Yes, at this point in time, what I would suggest also is that there should be a dialogue by the media houses to challenge the people's mind, the ideas, and the thoughts on mob behavior. We must also join the crusade, just like they have joined the crusade in the Galamsey, Stop Galamsey. They should also, this is an area, because this is not the only one. There are so many, and it's going on. It's becoming another. Then the only crucial way of questioning the rush mob of action that is going on today, and then the citizens should also be allowed to evaluate the inefficiency of the mob justice within the street. When you come, so the role of the media is paramount here, as far as this matter is concerned, so that we'll be able to because like earlier on, one of the speakers, I think he himself, the literacy level also is a factor within that community. So the media can take this challenge and also help us to, because it's very sad, and it should be like you are also saying that this Mahama Captain Mahama, the kind of very sad ordeal experience he has had must be exemplary to likened to that of Jesus Christ, so that to be able to end this very impunity of this community and the society. It must be ended. And then I pray finally that the institution, the police, who we know, we respect them, they can do it. The politicians should set aside. They should keep off and allow the law to take its course, just to confirm that of what the president said. So that you'll be able to ensure that the law take its course.
Thank you very much. And yes, Ghana is indeed a very peaceful country, but so was Liberia before the war. Yeah. Indeed, before Sierra Leone's war, they had been marked the most peaceful country in the world. That was Sierra Leone. In the end, they were cutting themselves limb by limb and indeed giving people the option, whether you wanted short sleeves or long sleeve. It got to a point where fathers had to pay $3 for a bullet to have their family shot, so they don't go through the ordeal of being hacked down by machetes. And this impunity brewed one after the other. We need to definitely work towards our peace. We can't live in a society where everything is just free. Everyone wants everything free at every given time. We must wake up to this, and indeed, this fine soldier's life should be the turning point where we bring back discipline into our culture. Enough is enough, and this is rock bottom. Any lower than this, I think will be worse than those who live in the jungle. On this very sad note, I say thank you very much for watching. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. I want to say thank you very much to Dr. Vladimir Chudansu and Dr. Franklin Baini for coming in to do justice to this topic. But we must get angry, and enough is enough. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again.